And this week's Rockstar is a phenomenal woman. And I know you're going to fall in love with her and her story as much as I did. She works full time. She's got 3 children and she has now got 12 tenants. And she's going to tell us about her journey in rent to rent and how she got to where she is today. Welcome, Rent to Rent Rockstar, Maria Opaniran. How are you, Maria?
I'm fine. Thanks, Stephanie. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to just share my experience with the viewers.
Yeah, no, it is absolutely my pleasure. And for anybody watching at home, I know that these interviews, people find them very inspirational because a lot of the time we tend to think that we couldn't do something. And when we hear somebody else who's done it quite recently and who's gone through that process, it starts to think, oh, maybe I could do this. So, so I know that people are going to find your story inspirational. But let's start on the journey, Maria, right at the beginning. So first of all, let's just start a bit about you, Maria. So do you want to just tell us a little bit about
Um,
yourself?
yes, definitely. Obviously, like you said, I'm a mother of 3 children and I've got a full-time job. I work as an IT project manager with close to 12 years experience within finance industry and now within retail industry. And yeah, I'm busy. I think that's it. That's in a nutshell. That's me really. I'm busy. And when I tell people what I do, in addition to my day job, people think I'm crazy. And I think you just want to make A's while the sunshine, while you've got the energy, why not? So that's really me, a busy woman. That's what I'll say about myself.
Brilliant. And how old are your children, Maria?
I've got 3 of them. The first one is going to be 6 Sunday, 28th of June. And I've got a 14-year-old daughter and
Mhm.
another 11-year-old daughter. So three.
Fantastic, fantastic. Now, tell us a little bit. You've got a lot going on and you've got a great job as an IT project manager. So tell us a little bit, what made you think that you wanted to get started with?
I've always had a strong flair for investment. I've always had a strong flair for investment. Even when I was working, because now I work as a permanent resource, but even when I was working for or as a contractor, I had a second high for investment opportunities. I did a couple of buy to let. So I've got a couple of buy to let properties. But after a while, you agree with me that if you need to get into buy to let, you need your deposit. You need your
Mm.
25% deposit. You need, there's a lot of financial commitment involved. And then I came across rent. I think I just came across it accidental when I was going through YouTube. And I think I saw you and
Mm,
Nikki
mm,
just saying
mm.
stuff about rent to rent, and I really got excited. So I began to do my research. What does rent to rent mean? What does that involve, and all of that? And then I felt when I now discovered the amount of money you just need to get a property under your belt, and also get almost the same returns or even more than you get on your buy to let, I just thought, wow, I'm just going to jump on this wagon and see what is in there for me.
And when you just in that situation, so you've already got your buy to let yourself and you're in the process of maybe saving up for another one, and you think you see this rent to rent and you think, oh, I'm going to try that. Were there things that were stopping you? Did you have hesitations or worries about getting started?
Yes, I did. I definitely did. And I think I'm a very quiet person. And when I tell people that, although they tell me, Maria, that's not true, you're not really a quiet person, but I feel I'm a quiet person. And I felt I am a shy person. I think so, although people tell me I'm not, but I think I am. Because you have your internal struggles as well, your internal insecurities as well. And also, there's a bit of me that says, "Oh, she's got an accent. How will she be able to communicate to people?" That kind of a thing. So those were some of my setbacks. But when I tried working on speaking to myself and telling myself I can do it, I think that sort of prompted me on, and I just ignored my insecurities and went for it. And above all, I also prayed for some confidence as well. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. And then tell us about getting started. How did you start? What did you do first? How did you, tell us about that?
So what I did was I went on Rightmove. and I saw this massive property, really. It says 7 or 8 bedroom property. So obviously, I've not done the training, so I had no clue what I was supposed to be doing. So I just called the agency and I said to them that, oh, can I view this property? And then I went in there, viewed the property, and luckily it was the landlord that actually came to show me around the property. So I liked it, and I just engaged him in a conversation. I said, look, I'm really interested in your property. I really want to take this on. What do I need to do? And that was it, really. And the rest is story. The rest is history.
Okay, so you got that one. And the next thing I think that people worry about is, oh my gosh, what do you do when you got a property?
And then, yes, I started to use spare room, for example, put some of my hard work, got my best pictures, put it on there. And I think I got thrilled when I started receiving phone calls to say, oh, can I view this property? I think that was when my energy level really got boosted. I remember when I was going to sign the deal, I took my husband there just to see the property, just to make sure I wasn't signing things. I was signing a deal behind his back. And obviously, because he was equally a novice, I could see in his face, well, like, are you sure you're going to sign this? Are you sure you're going to sign this? That kind of a thing. But, I had to really calm him down to say, look, I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. So this is some of the hardest as well. And I think a lesson I learned in there is, for people who really don't understand the business, it's so difficult to be able to explain to them what you're really doing, because as far as you're concerned, you're making a big mistake here. But
Yeah.
looking back now, I'm sure it now is part of the whole business thing now, because it now sees the benefit of doing that. Anyway, so it was when the phone calls were starting coming in for the rooms that I really got so excited. I imagine about 5, 6 people coming to do viewings at the same time. And I think one thing I discovered about this Article 4 area is because there's got strict regulation, they haven't got that much HMOs, and yet there's so much demand in the area.
Yes.
So I didn't let that deter me, because I had every opportunity to just walk away and say, no, I'm not doing that. And I remember when I took on the property and I applied for the HMO license and the planning, a team coming from the council to actually inspect the properties. And I guess because that property, unknown to me, it's got some history. They've done a lot of HMOs illegally in the past. They've done a lot of baba things in the past. And so when I now submitted the application for that same property, they thought it was the man doing some dubious things again. So when I now came in, I now approached them as a professional person to say, actually, look, I've done this. In fact, I was actually the one leading the team, telling them, look at the fire doors. Look at the fire doors, look at the locks, look at the fire alarms, look at the fire extinguisher. And they were really pleased. They were really confident. And they were like, Maria, if we have any other landlord that's struggling, I think we'll just recommend them to you. And I was really chilled. So that was how I developed my network. Anyway, to go back to the main question, so I got tenants coming in the room, and almost in a day, I think I rented out 4 rooms out of the 8 rooms in one day.
Okay, let me just bring out a few things from what you said. Firstly, you've said that because it's an Article 4 area, it was actually a benefit because there are fewer HMOs in the area, so there's more demand, because people often worry really a lot if it's an Article 4 area. And especially normally, because what we say with an Article 4 area is go for existing HMOs. But it's quite exciting because you've then got an 8-bed, which is fantastic. We have an 8-bed as well. That's one of our best properties. So let's talk, Maria, just about the high level numbers, just to give people an idea of what happened with your first property.
So for that property, if I remove the expenses, or after the expenses, when I say expenses, water, council tax, and everything, I would say plus or minus is around 950 per calendar month.
Wow.
Yeah, 950 per calendar month. And also that I've had the property now for more than a year.
Yeah.
So apart from that, really, averagely, I would say 950 per calendar month.
Wow, that is brilliant. So you're making around £950 every month. You've got your first property, 8 beds, and so you've got one other property as well.
Yes, I do. So this one is I did what is called, I've forgotten, I think the name just eluded me now. So it was a property in the market for two things. They were going to rent it out and they were
Yeah.
also looking for a buyer.
Yeah.
So I took advantage of that and just spoke to the landlord and said, I'm actually interested in renting this property. And at the same time, I would like to buy it.
Mm.
So she agreed. So I have a deal on the property now to rent for 2 years and afterwards purchase the property. So it's not in an Article 4 area, which is good. So I didn't have all the restrictions I had in the first one. And it's a 4-bed property.
Mm.
And from lessons learned in the first one, I was able to negotiate the rent with the landlord and I also got the landlord to pay the council tax,
Mm.
which she agreed. And so if I compare the second property to the first one, I think in terms of profit, I'm getting more profit on the second one than on the first one.
Wow.
Because if you look at a 4-bedroom house, and because I've not bought the property, I couldn't make that much modification in that property because the sitting room is so big, and it's a room you can easily turn into a fifth bedroom really. But I
Mm.
want to wait until I actually finish the purchase before I do that. And
Mm.
it's got 4 bedrooms. It's got 3 toilets. It's got 2 bathrooms. I mean, it's got all the facilities in there. So
Mm.
there's no reason why you can't turn the living room into a bedroom, but I want to wait until I complete the purchase for that. And even with the 4 bedrooms being rented out separately, I mean, the profit is an average of 550 per calendar month for just 4 bedrooms. So compared to a 8 bedroom that's given 950. So imagine if that one was double, that would be over 1,000 on this second property.
Oh, I see what you mean. I thought for a minute you were making over 950 from a 4 bed, and I was thinking,
Uh,
wow, this is incredible. But you're making 550 on the 4 bed and 950 on the other bed. So that's 1,600. I just had to do my mental arithmetic there. So that's amazing. So you got the first one was from a letting agent, and what about the second one?
The second one was advertised by the letting agents originally. And when they weren't getting traction, I don't know what happened. The area, I don't know how to describe the area really, is I don't know, for a long time they weren't really getting any traction. For no one was coming to view the property for rent, no one was coming to view for to buy. And then when I contacted the agency and I got the appointment with the landlord just said to me and said, look, I'm moving to the US. I can't wait for the estate agent anymore. I want someone I can trust, I can hand over my property to, that kind of a thing. And she was just like, I'm just gonna take it off and give it to me if I don't mind. Initially, I was a bit reluctant though because I didn't want to burn the bridge because I might still need to use the estate agent again. But the lady was really keen on. I think she was due to travel to the US that same week, and she just felt, look, I think from my little conversation with you, I trust you. I can trust you with my property, that kind of a thing, and that was it really. I think it was based on good girl kind of relationship, if you know what I meant. Yeah.
I don't know what you mean. Good girl kind of relationship. Tell me, what do you
I
mean?
think I think she just, maybe because of the way I sold my services, she fell in love. Let me use that word. She just
Oh.
she was, because I just said to her, I said, this is what I've done in the past. And for example, in the first property, the landlord, when I got the property, said to me, oh Maria, I will need to come and view this property every month because my previous tenant vandalized the property and I have no confidence in. So first month he came looking at the property, second month, but now it's not been in that property for 8 months. And and you so that confidence is there. So I sort of used the opportunity to say to this woman, to say, look, I will look after your property and that kind of a thing. She just fell in love. And I think she's also had some bad experiences with previous occupants as well,
Yeah.
where they actually messed up the entire property. So she spent a lot of money to revamp the property, make it look nice again. And I said to her, I said, look, I'm going to bring in, these are the kind of people I'll be bringing. I mean, I've had a property for since June last year. She came to look at it twice, and ever since she's gone back to the US, she's not even bothered. So So it's just a confidence thing to say, look, I'm going to look after your property. And they've come in once, twice. They've seen that you're actually delivering to what you're supposed to deliver to. And that's it.
I would like to just bring out a point, Maria, because the second most popular question that anybody asks is, why would a landlord give a property to me, or why would a letting agent give a property to me, especially when you're just starting out and maybe it's your first property. But what you said painted the picture so perfectly. There you were, especially on the first one where you didn't have a prior property, and they fell in love with you. And should I tell you as well, what helps us is that a lot of the HMO letting agents, unfortunately, this is not their specialism. They've got hundreds of properties. They're not easily able to stay on top of what goes on in the house share where we are. And I think the landlords often would prefer to give it to a person, mother of three, IT project manager, who's going to have that as, in the first case, your only property that you're looking after. I think they feel a lot more confident with that than the professional letting agent.
I think you're absolutely correct, Stephanie, because right now I'm actually negotiating a property right now, and it was just based on reference. I think the son of my first landlord actually gave my number to this colleague of theirs and said, we have a fantastic person that's looking after that property, and we just feel you should use this person. So the guy didn't even ask me for, oh, give me proof of an account or proof of account, proof of ID. It was like, Maria, we've heard a lot about you. I want you to take on this property, and it's in central London for that matter, about 5 minutes to my land. I mean, so we're still negotiating on that property, and it's purely on referral. I think what she was just concerned about is, you're going to look after my property. That was it. Yeah. That was all she wanted. And the fact that I was going to make sure I pay her the guarantee rate, I promised. That was all she cared about. Everything was just in place. And I think looking at that kind of a property, I did my homework in terms of knowing the kind of people to bring in there. Don't get me wrong, the people in there are not office workers, but I was looking for more mature people. I wasn't looking for teenagers or 21-year-olds who wants to do parties all night. So I was quite picky in terms of the kind of tenant, and I got the whole thing rented in one single day. I just put all the viewings. I just put the viewings on a Sunday after church, and I just asked all of them to view at the same time, and almost immediately they were like, Maria, I love this. Promise me you're not going to give this to anyone. So I really had to tell them, look, I need time to do my referencing and all of that. So yeah.
Maybe that's the secret. Do the viewings after church. You can fill it in one day. I really love your story. The 2 properties, the third one on the way. And you've really just explained that it is such a human thing. People have got the investment properties. They've often had bad experiences, and they just want to let it to someone who they can trust. Now, the next point I want to go on to, Maria, is that a lot of people are worried about getting into this, especially because we've had such an upheaval, all of us, in the last few months, with coronavirus. So tell us what that's been like. How's it been managing your properties? What's happened?
I think to be candid, Stephanie, coronavirus notwithstanding, the demand is still there.
What location is this, Maria, just to let people know where this is?
Which one? Sorry.
Location.
This is in Barking and Dagenham. I mean, both properties are filled with tenants. So yeah.
No, that's an amazing story.
Because of what's happening right now, so many people are scared, but that tells you there's opportunities out there, because the people who are fearful are scared away. The courageous ones take on the opportunity. So I would say, grab the opportunity, just negotiate, like what Stephanie and Nikki Warren say, just negotiate with the landlord. For example, the current landlord I'm negotiating with, I'm quite conscious that of the seasons we're in, there's a lot of uncertainty out there. So I'm just negotiating stuff with him to say, for example, the one in Milan, I'm saying to him that, look, I'm bringing down the rent slightly. And I'm also saying to him, because the house currently needs a lot of refurbishment. So I'm saying to him, can you give me 1 month's rent, for example? Give me the property for 1 month without collecting the rent, and I'll use that to refurbish the property. So we're going back and forth on that negotiation right now. And even at that, if you try and test the market and just put a dummy room on spare room. You'll be surprised at the number of people that will be contacting you for rooms. And in East London, for example, I have a couple of people who still call me today and say, Maria, have you got extra room I can rent? And I'm saying, oh, sorry, I don't have spare rooms. So imagine if I have another house right now in Backing, I'm sure it'll be filled up because people already have my number. I had a guy that called me a few weeks ago and said, oh, Maria, I was one that called you last year. Do you now have rooms? So the demand is still there. You just need to, don't be part of the fearful ones. Take the courage right now and grab the opportunities.
Brilliant, brilliant. And James has said, last questions. Oh, how did you manage working full time and managing your HMOs?
At least I'm still here smiling and I'm still working full time.
Yeah.
So I think it's just a matter of prioritizing and organizing your time, really. For example, Saturday and Sundays I don't work. I don't do office work. My laptop is locked down. I'm logged out of office work, and I spend that time to do my own business. So it's just organizing stuff, really. And initially, like I said, with the first one I struggled because the processes were not there. That was my trial and error property. But with experience, I was able to put processes in place, and that seems to be working now. So what I did, and that's also comes out of building relationship with your landlord and building confidence in your landlord. So what I also did was I spoke to my landlord. I said, I've never defaulted in my rent. I want, if you don't mind, I want to negotiate some rent reduction just for this period. And after this period, I'm sure we'll go back to normal. And in fact, it didn't even allow me to talk. It was like, Maria, I understand. He speaks little English. It was like, Maria, I understand. So he was happy for me to reduce the rent by £400. So for the past 2 months, I've been giving him 400 less his usual rent. And he was happy. In fact, when I paid the last one, he sent me a text immediately to say, thank you. So I have a feeling that maybe some of his properties, they're not even paying rent at all. Who knows? But so I was able to make the arrangement with the landlord as well.
I love how you talked to your landlord and you came to an agreement that suited you both, because that is so important. What we don't want is to have no communication and then people are not getting paid and landlords are angry. So I think that's a brilliant resolution for you both. It's just been so lovely to have you on. I love your energy and your story. I can see why all these landlords and agents are falling in love with you. You are so lovable. And you, that's what I just feel, that without saying a word, you can feel the trustworthiness and the honesty of people. And so that's where I think this can be a really fantastic business, especially for mums, because you're managing a household. It really is quite smooth. And for you, just having the 2 properties, it's an extra £1,600 a month. So that's really amazing, because some people, their full-time salary after their tax paid is not that. And this is, although you did have to put a lot of time in at the beginning, it's far from a full-time job. It's something you can do on the side, even of your IT project management. So before we sort of bring it to a close, Maria, what advice would you give to people who are just getting started out now, and maybe as you were, feel a little bit anxious or nervous about getting started?
I think the truth of the matter is the confidence will not come until you actually start. Like I said, I had the insecurities were there. I wasn't sure. Even when you approach the landlord, I wasn't sure what the response was going to be. The feeling is like when you're speaking to a letting agent, and in your head you just assume the person just say no. Meanwhile, the person in front of you is actually saying, oh yeah, actually, I think we have a couple of properties we can show you. So, like, for example, when I started with the first one, I used stamp to send out letters to the landlords and letting agents. Now I decided to do it myself. Use my kids. It's locked down. They've got plenty of time in their hands. Rather than spend all the time on tablets, I'm just like, you're going to help me address 100 plus letters to this landlord, and I'm going to give you a stipend for it. And they jumped at the opportunity. And at the back of that, I got a couple of calls from, obviously, letting agents who were more than happy to show me a couple of properties around. And so until you take a step, you have no idea what is actually out there. And the more you see, the confidence actually grows with time.
You've given people some advice for getting started. And have we talked about what's been best for you and your family about you doing this?
I think what is being exciting for the family is the fact that I get them involved in all the excitement. So, for example, when a tenant leaves the property and we need to redress the property, I just bring the children along. They're doing the hoovering, I'm making the bed, someone is fixing the pillow. So I get them involved in the journey. So I'm not so busy and then leaving them behind, not giving them the attention. So now my son is already talking about, oh, I want to be an entrepreneur, that kind of a thing. I want to be like my mom. And
Yeah.
my daughter is equally saying, oh, mommy, I want to be a businesswoman like you, that kind of. So I share the excitement with them. And then obviously when the profit comes, and so when they say, mommy, we need to buy something, I'm like, okay, you do this and I'll buy that for you. So that kind of a thing. So I carry them along in the excitement. So they are involved. So it's not just about mommy being so busy and neglecting the children. I carry them along in the journey.
I love that because it helps to make your children entrepreneurial. And there's one thing that we've seen with everything that's happened recently from, COVID-19 to George Floyd is that it's really important to take the reins and create our own businesses and our own income separate to our jobs, because it's just shown you never know what could happen tomorrow.
Yeah.
And when we put these foundations in place, I like to think of it as like the first step, you get the cash flow business. You've already taken the second step, which is you're buying your assets as well. And the third step, believe bigger, be bolder, be a game changer, is that you're giving to help the people that you want to help. And I know that you already are involved in doing that, Maria, but it's just such a joy to be able to do that. And I love to think of you with your family doing the rooms and all the other things you're doing. So I really want to say how incredible and amazing you are and lovely. I've already said that I can totally see how all these landlords are in love with you, Maria, and to thank you for spending your time this evening to talk about it. And I know that you will have inspired a lot of other people to get started.
So I think the key thing is just go out there, the opportunities in there. Swallow your fears and just go for it. Take the courage and go for it. That's it.
Well, that is a fantastic message to end on. Take the courage and go for it.